Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our new edition of Big Brother 23 Live Feed Spoilers. Happy Brent Eviction Day, everyone. It is a day we have all been waiting for.
Bro house, bro house,
Wait.
bro house.
We're still chanting the American Horror Stories thing? Listen, Brent, there's an episode of American Horror Stories out there. You guys should all go and watch it. And if you do...
It's so good, and it sort of reminds me of Brent.
Brent would be in this bro house. Let's just put it that way, because Brent is the broiest of bros.
We have our American Horror Stories review already up. It was a great episode.
Yeah.
As you can tell, we're still hyped from that.
Yeah.
So check that out if you haven't already.
In between that and last night's Big Brother, which I feel like for the Brent content, put this episode in the Smithsonian. Like this may be one of the greatest hours that Big Brother has ever put together.
Yes.
So we're eating good over here. We'll tell you about.
I love the way this cake is cut.
Okay, I just have to say right away, we may have some news that may mildly disappoint you when it comes to Brent, so prepare yourself for that accordingly.
Yep.
We also have some really interesting cookout stuff, but we'll get to that later. Before we do anything else, hit that subscribe button. We don't want you guys to miss anything else Big Brother related or horror stories related we got going on here at the channel.
Yeah, we got Blacklist coming up on Friday. We got Power Book 3 coming up on Saturday. There's lots of good stuff coming up.
Yeah.
All right, so Big Brother, here we go.
Okay.
Everyone has been hoping that Brent is going to be blindsided. But Derek F. has told Brent that he doesn't have the votes.
Listen.
Wah, wah, wah. Derek, why? Why do you have to do this?
What's been so good about this whole week is that even when people tried to sort of infer to Brent that he was in trouble, I'm not sure that Brent believed them. And I'll be honest, I'm not even sure that Brent believed Derek F. when he said this either, because he has been so either deluded or in the dark or with his head in the sand.
And then on top of that, so even if he didn't believe Derek F., Christian then also slipped up and mentioned to Brent about being one of the first 3 guys evicted.
Christian, like, at this point, Brent's gotta know. Like, Brent, if you haven't figured it out, and, there's a part of me that hopes that, I don't know, Brent magically disremembers everything that went on here, but Christian, I don't know if I will ever forgive you for this. Like, at least Derek F. gives us occasionally good diary rooms.
Yeah, he's gotta know. I mean, also, Brittany's been campaigning for hours, and she's accomplished nothing because she's staying. But I also think that it's a good thing that she has tried. The thing that I hate is when someone knows that they're staying, so they just sit on their butt and they don't do anything, and they don't take the opportunity to still push and not be that comfortable in the game and still go through the process of sitting down with people and talking with people and building connections. There's always game to be played, so I'm glad that she did that.
Never take Big Brother for granted. And that's, if we could impart one piece of advice to all of you out there who are going to be on Big Brother someday, just like supposedly Frenchie was on Big Brother after watching our videos, but don't do anything and take it for granted. Campaign no matter what. Always make other people feel like you value them.
Okay, so talking about slip-ups, we're also going to talk about Azza, who has slipped up and told Hannah the Cookout name. And later, Tiffany and Kylan has sort of told her it's not a big deal, but of course it is a big deal. And if they're going to have Hannah be sort of that adjacent to the Cookout, just bring her in already. Like, she is obviously a part of this, so just bring her in.
The other part of this that I don't have any clarity on this yet. It's just that if you're Hannah, like, let's put ourselves in Hannah's position, and we suddenly find out that there's kind of a name to this thing that I've been kind of sort of a part of for a little while.
And you don't know about it.
Wouldn't you feel a certain type of way? Wouldn't you be like, okay, well, obviously I'm at the bottom if you guys didn't care enough to tell me what this was called until now?
Yeah, and I think that Tiffany and Kylan kind of dropped the ball on this quite a bit. By trying to play it off that it's no big deal, it doesn't help the situation. It just makes her feel more isolated from the group because she knows that it is a big deal because it has a name. And once an alliance has a name, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's the moment that they should have just brought her in and said that this was something that came together recently. This is the time to kind of lie and be like, oh yeah, we just started talking about it and we kind of came up with this and we were actually on our way to see you.
I think, yeah, it's plausible deniability. You know, you can always find a way to sort of craft the right narrative. I mean, at least Tiffany has done a good job of warning Hannah of a little bit of danger. We've talked recently about how Hannah's name has started to come up a little bit as a possible target.
Yeah.
Sounds like Hannah's gonna gun for the next HOH now. It feels
Good.
like, yeah, you should gun for it. It feels like there's a reasonable amount of people now who are going to try to win the next HOH tonight, which, you know, we don't have any idea what it is. We don't know if it's something that's easy to throw.
No, we don't know, but I would like to see a Hannah HOH and see where that kind of goes, especially now that she does know that she's on the bottom of this alliance.
Like, I feel like it's something that it could just get her some good, like, capital in the game. I feel like it could be a level playing field. I know nothing, Jon Snow. I'm going to just throw that out there right away. But my thinking cap prediction here is that I think next week is going to be, like, the big wall endurance competition. Because it's like, this twist is going to be over, this team twist, they're going to skyrocket us into something totally new.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to sort of see who's going to get targeted. I mean, there's a number of people who are confident that sort of like Alyssa, Christian, or Whitney are the most likely targets. But again, it depends on who wins, right? Yeah. I mean, Alyssa, Christian, or Whitney could win this. Hannah, not 100% sure where she's going to land on things now.
Yeah, like, it's the most interesting HOH week I think we've had in a while, because it was very clear that Frenchie was going to be a target. It was even clearer that Brent was going to be a target.
Yeah.
We kind of know, like, sort of a small group of people who could be targets, but until they get into power, it's hard to really know anything for sure, especially if it's, like, an Alyssa or Christian HOH, if they start, like, showmancing it up in the room or whatever. Maybe they'll come up with some other sort of like weird and crazy ideas.
Yeah, it's possible.
Okay, so we got to talk about the cookout plan now, because this to me is one of the most interesting plans that I think I have heard somebody come up with. And if Tiffany told this plan to me, I would want Tiffany out tomorrow because it is kind of brilliant.
Tiffany is dangerous. Okay, let's get into the plan. Here we go.
Okay, so here's what Tiffany's idea. She's explained this to Derek Tiffanys, and I'm sure other people kind of get mixed up in it over time. So she wants there to be a scenario here where a certain group of people make it to final 11. And this is sort of provided that Whitney and Alyssa are kind of the next couple of people out.
Yeah.
She wants every person in the cookout, with the exception of Derek F., who for some reason is just sort of by himself, but everyone else gets to have sort of like a buddy. So it's like you have Xavier is with Christian. You have Hannah and Derek X, Tiffany and Claire, Kylan and Sarah Beth, and then also Azza and Brittany. Each one of them kind of gets a sidekick.
Yeah, it's sort of like what the Brigade did. They did something very similar where there was the four of them together, and then they each sort of had a side person.
Yeah. And that worked really, really well, because all those side people thought that, oh, we're going to the final two.
Yes.
And so from here, I think the idea is, okay, we'll take out Christian first out of like these people at the final 11. But really, because the cookout is 6 people, they have 6 out of 11. They, you know, depending on what's going on with HOH and who's on the block, like they would have control of every single vote from there on out for the rest of the season.
The only thing that gets kind of tricky and sticky with this is, as people start to go to jury house, they will talk. There's nothing else to do except talk. Yeah. And you don't want to feel like a clown leaving the house. So eventually they're all going to figure out what's been going on, especially if there's any goodbye messages that are like, hey, we're all part of this group called the Cookout and this is what's happening. Then they will all at jury be able to start to put things together and be like, Okay, so Xavier got close to me to clown me. Great. Yeah. Hannah got close to me to clown me. Great. Tiffany got close to me to clown me. Great. So whoever's at the end, this could turn really bad if they talk it out.
Especially if there is some sort of like post-jury battle back. And just for the record, I don't think there's going to be a battle back. I think with like all the protocols and the health crisis, I don't think they want to risk anything, bringing somebody back into the house.
Yep.
But if there is, for some crazy reason, and let's say one of these people decides they want to be like, hey, we're in this alliance, and they go out of the door and they come right back in, that is a big problem.
Only if they win. This is the problem with the battle back, is we've seen that happen a bunch of times where someone comes in and then they go right back out.
It's true. There's a lot of different variables in here, and I mean, I will say this. Typically, I am not a fan of watching a big alliance steamroll everyone. I don't want a predictable game. Even in this situation, if everything goes perfectly for the Cookout, and I love the Cookout, but if it goes perfectly, like, there's not as much drama in that.
That's the problem here, is a lot of people that I really like are part of the Cookout, but I do not like watching a dominant alliance just steamroll over everything. The game does get very boring. It gets very dry. It gets very predictable. So as much as I like a lot of the people in the Cookout, this is not the game I want to watch happen. I want to see some back and forth in the house.
And I'm still going to go out on a limb here, and maybe it's a very thin limb, but I'm going to go out on it anyway and say I don't think the Cookout are the final six. And I think there's a couple of reasons. Number one, I think Sarah Beth and Claire in particular are really good players, and I think they're very, very smart. I can't see them being duped all the way until their inevitable demise or not winning a competition at some point.
I also think if Azah keeps feeling like she's kind of at the bottom of this, her relationship with Brittany can get really strong. That they could get to a point where, and we've already seen Azah throw herself under the bus for Brittany, if that relationship continues on and grows even stronger and stronger, she very well may, if the timing is right, throw the Cookout under the bus to save Brittany.
It makes more than perfect sense, because it's like, Azah and Brittany very, very close. What if Hannah and Derek X, what if they become like full showmans and then Hannah wants to go with Derek X?
Yes.
These things are feasible, and ultimately, as much fun as the Cookout is, it's not going to benefit every person in the Cookout to go to the final six with those people, because somebody's got to be on the bottom of that alliance.
That's right.
That always happens. And here's where, Tiffany, she's incredibly smart. She's playing, I'm hesitant to say it because I think she's been one of the best players. I think she's playing a little too hard right now. I think she's not in danger. She's not somebody who even needs to win the next HOH. I think that her kind of doing some stuff, like she's walked around and she's kind of told people different things within the Cookout and Final Four. It's just like, I don't think you need to do all of this where people, if they compare stories, you could get in trouble sooner than you really need to be in trouble.
Derek X has already figured you out, and she is playing a good game, but she is starting to outplay herself by doing a little too much, and, she's just kind of feeling herself right now because she is playing a good game, and I think she knows that she's really handling things pretty well. It also might just be with the new HOH coming up tonight. Yeah. She's getting a little worried. That happens in this house.
Yeah.
All you got to do there is think yourself to death.
It's true, and I still would lean towards Tiffany probably being the best overall player this season, even with this, just because she has.
Yeah, she is.
Like, she just has this alliance, and that's so much insulation. Like, you look at somebody like, Claire, and Claire's got, I guess, the royal flush, but it's like, I wouldn't count on that royal flush as far as I could throw it.
No, the only thing that Tiffany is going to be going up against is her own alliance. That once the alliance has gotten rid of everybody, I actually think that Tiffany, if people really pay attention, they will get rid of her right away. They will need to get rid of her right away, because if they don't, she's going to beat every single person in the Cookout. Everyone.
Yeah. Brilliant social player, smart strategist, fan of the show.
And can win stuff.
Yeah, and she's even got a great emotional argument. Like, she's got every single thing. I would be terrified to face off with her at the end of everything.
Yeah, I think if people are paying attention to the stuff she's saying right now in the past little while, then they know that they can't go to the end with her. They can bring her along for her strategy to get them further, but they can't keep her.
All right, well, tonight we are going to see Prince Jet be grounded in the Big Brother house.
Yep, he can go over to the bro house over on American Horror Story. We all saw what happened to everybody over in that bro house.
Oh boy. All right, well, anyway, goodbye, Brent. You will probably not be here the next time we're discussing Big Brother.
No.
But what do you guys want to see happen tonight? Who are you rooting for to win HOH? And what do you think about Tiffany's plan here when it comes to the cookout? Share in the comments and give us a like, subscribe to the channel, check out our coverage coming up on Power Book 3, Animal Kingdom. We'll see you here next time.